Hi, this is Alejandro, and in this video I want to discuss a few ways in which we can take advantage of the features in Damaged Drum Kit to make your drum programming sound more realistic. One of the biggest challenges when working with sample libraries is to make them sound as close to a real performance as possible, and now with Damaged Drum Kit we have at our fingertips a very powerful instrument that gives us the flexibility and the precision needed to take your sequencing to the next level. The first concept we need to keep in mind when writing realistic drum parts is that we're trying to replicate what real drummers are already doing in their performances. Understanding the concepts behind how drummers think of their playing will result in our programmed drums sounding closer to what a real person would do. And to this end, we want to make sure that we begin with a very obvious observation. Most drummers can only perform up to 4 sounds at a time. This means that simultaneously playing more than 5 instruments from the drum set can risk making our programming sound a bit unrealistic. For example, playing a busy pattern with the toms while still having hi-hat and snare and kick drum going. Instead, we can switch the hi-hat to the foot stomp pedal, freeing up our imaginary drummer's hand and setting it in quarter notes or even eighth notes, like so. The next concept to be aware of is the use of velocity and the dynamic layers of the sounds when programming our MIDI. I get it, we all want our drums to hit as hard as possible, but sometimes subtlety can actually enhance the impact of our performance. Instead of sequencing all of our hits at maximum velocity, try working in the 80% mark most of the time and leave some extra room for harder hits. Think about your favorite drummers. You can only hit your drums so hard all of the time and still have a sense of groove. Pay attention to how the kick drum and the cymbals sound less fake when we rein in the velocity of some of the hits. Thanks to the extensive sampling and deep layering achieved with Damaged Drum Kit, you can achieve a more balanced approach by triggering actual performances of softer dynamics for enhanced realism. And building upon this, I want to dedicate some time to thinking about the hi-hat. Usually, in any given drum beat, this is the part of the drums that is most active. Therefore, it shouldn't really be programmed as a second thought. Studying how drummers mechanically play the hi-hat will reveal that most of the time, there's a certain bounce to the way they attack the cymbal, whereas there's always a subdivision happening at a much softer velocity that will make our groove go from machine gun to human. Take this classic rock beat, for example, where one might just play eighth notes with a somewhat open hi-hat. Now, let's make the eighth note in between beats softer and notice how the stiffness breaks up and we get a much smoother groove. This type of hi-hat performance is really easy to program in Damaged Drum Kit because of our performance tool. In the Ensemble Designer, select the repeat mode and set it to play 2 eighth notes with an accent set to first and adjust the randomization values to make it a bit more human. Make sure that the loop feature is turned on and then hold down the hi-hat key to get the Damaged Drum Kit do the performance for you. Remember, don't just use the loudest velocity. Some subtlety here goes a long way. Adjust the amount value to get the level of bounce that feels right for you, from a more straight-ahead rock performance to a funkier beat. And whilst on the subject of hi-hats, when playing from the kit designer, make sure you enable the choke feature between your hi-hats. This will make sure when you program the hi-hat opening and closing that the open hi-hat doesn't ring through once it's closed, or else you end up with the Schrodinger's hi-hat, which is simultaneously open and closed at the same time. Finally, I want to leave you with a thought about realism. Even though adjusting our programming to match a real drum performance will take your compositions to the next level, there's also something to be said about processing a drum set like a drum machine. Damaged Drum Kit allows you to take our sound sources and set them up and tweak them in a way that we're now emulating drum machines rather than drummers. In the kit designer, you can switch the round robin feature off and use the tune knob to alter the pitch of the hi-hat and snare to give them more of a synthetic feel. Add some saturation and filtering, and we have our own drum machine ready for some hip-hop inspired beat. There you have it. Whether you need an organic performance that sounds detailed and realistic, or you're trying to push the envelope of what modern drums might sound like, the Damage Kit has everything you need to let your imagination run free. Let us know in the comments how you program your drums to make them sound more realistic, and if you enjoyed the content in this video, give it a like and share. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest releases and video content. See you soon!